gears. So we got our crosshairs there, so essentially we're just going to sketch a rough outline of what the damn thing looks like. Now keep in mind, I didn't draw the first one, I don't have any dimensions, I'm just drawing it out of my ass essentially. But this is all you really need to know if you needed to draw something like it. I mean, that's the point, right? So give it some dimensions. I always start with the biggest dimension. Sometimes if you do a small dimension, then a big one, that big one will send the other ones cockeyed. I do remember it was, I think, 1 inch 70 thousandths tall, 1.65 wide. So in the smart dimension you can do 1.65/2, so 1.65 divided by 2, enter, and it'll do that math for you if you don't know some of this stuff off the top of your head. And remember, when you're drawing a sketch with a center hole in it, don't start your line from your center, because you're going to revolve around that center, and if you do like I've done here, leave that gap, when you revolve it, it will revolve with your hole. So you dimension it like I done here for half the diameter, the radius of your hole. Just keeps you from having to add a hole later, I reckon. Trying to think of what a good size would be. The size I picked wasn't a good size. I had to change it, but you'll see that in a little bit. So now we're going to go ahead and revolve. So we're going to go to features, hit the revolve button. We're going to pick the axis, and there you go. It's revolve. Click the check mark. And it really is just that simple to do that. And if you need to change dimensions or anything, all you have to do is go back in, edit sketch, and whatever you put on there, it'll automatically update when you exit the sketch. If you notice, it's already got the hole in the center, so we want to click on that face, normal to, go back into sketch. We're going to create the hex, so we'll pick that face that we're going to work on, then we pick the center, and then brought our hex out from there. Then we're going to dimension across to, I believe it was 3/4. So then we'll pick a circle again from the center. We'll lock it on that outside. That way when we extrude it, it's going to remove all that extra meat that we don't need there. I just drew it big. I don't know why I drew it that big. Never hurts to have too much meat, and you just make it disappear real quick. We need to get it to extrude as far as we want it to extrude. That way it doesn't eat up the whole bottom and all that other good stuff. Click our check mark, and you've got a hex. Not quite what I was looking for, but a hex. So we'll go back in, edit sketch, and we'll change that dimension, put in what we want, more reasonable size hex. Click the check mark, go ahead and update. Once we exit the sketch, it'll be in that revolve. And there we go. Now we'll go back in, create another hex. Again, pick that face, start from the center, bring it out. Now I'm intentionally going to make it cockeyed. Then I'm going to use relations to make sure it's straight. So I'll pick one line, shift, pick the other line, and then add whatever relations I want, whether it's parallel, perpendicular, concentric, whatever it is. And that automatically locks it into that. And then we'll draw our circle again because we're doing a we're extruding here. So we need to completely enclose the sketch. So that's why we do the outside hex, inside circle, or inside hex, outside circle. So there we go. We picked our depth and 1/4 inch and went ahead and extruded it. So now we're going to put the whatever it was, notch, I guess you could say, down. You know, they had a chunk missing out of it, so I'll go ahead and put that in. Zoom in, remember, not the all the way to the left, but the second one. Let you zoom in to whatever area you pick. So again, we'll use relations to get this line to line up with that. So you just pick one line or vertex, shift, pick the other one, and add the relations. And we'll try to extrude it. And it's not going to let us extrude it because it's going to tell me that it's leaving a thin wall or too thin of a wall or something. So basically I need to move the sketch out a little bit so it's grabbing everything. Of course I didn't know that, so I clicked the little question mark and read the instructions, right? And that's what smart people do, right? Somebody else already done all this work. So I went and read the instructions and figured out what I need to do, and there we go. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. First I had to delete some relations because it's locked to it, which is one reason why I don't like to draw my sketches locked to lines just willy-nilly, because of stuff like this. You can't move it. So you delete the relation, then you just drag the frickin' line where you want it, and you're golden, right? That relation, though, it'll put the brakes on the whole process. So there we go, move it out. I'll go ahead and extrude it. Click our check mark, and there we go. And this is where we noticed that we did that neck way too thick. I think I got it at 800 thousandths or something like that. 400,000 radius. So we're going to drop it down to just a 1/2 inch, 250 on each side. But again, we're just drawing this out of our ass, so there's it's whatever you want it to be right now. More or less just to help you see what we got going on. So now that pretty well looks like what we want. So now we'll go back into sketch. We're going to draw some circles. We're going to pick that face right there because, well, that's what we want to draw on. Again, we're going to start from that center, which is why we draw from the center like that. Lock that in. What I think is the neck. Lock that one. Not all the way to the edge, because the gear teeth, this is where the gear teeth are actually going to be cut. So we have to extrude you know, take some meat out of there to give us room. So we'll go ahead and dimension that, you know, between the two circles. That'll be the actual thickness of the gear teeth. And again, we'll go in, click, shift click on the two radiuses, and then use your relations to draw them in, make them tangent, whatever it is you're trying to do. Now we'll go ahead and extrude that cut. $200,000s or whatnot. That looks good, and that's what we'll run with. And there we go. So now we're going to go ahead and add a plane so we can sketch what we're going to call a gear tooth on, even though it's not really a gear tooth. Now we want it in line with that face right there, just because that's what we want. No rhyme or reason really. So we got to pick our two what do you call it? Yeah, whatever they are. First, I can't think of the name right now. But you're picking the I'm picking the plane, and then I'm picking a face, and that one wasn't the one that I wanted. So I picked a different plane, kept the same face to get it where I wanted. And then we're going to go in. Now we're going to sketch our. Well, first we're going to sketch a center line, and that'll be the center of our gear tooth. So we'll sketch one side of a gear tooth, and then we will just do a pattern or a mirror and mirror it to the other side. Then we'll do a revolve all the way around. And again, this is just drawing here. This is really not a gear tooth. If you were actually cutting a gear tooth, you would need to do one of two things. One of three things. Either draw the profile correct, go to GrabCAD or something, import the profile that's correct, or simply trick your CAM program into cutting it anyways. You know, as long as you've got the depth correct, it's going to cut the profile of the cutter that you've got in the machine, right? So it doesn't matter if the machine thinks it's cutting a 200,000th slot or whether it's cutting a gear tooth, as long as the depth is correct. So we're just going to draw something that, you know, looks something like a gear tooth. Nothing scientific there, I reckon. So again, with the splines, you can grab and drag them where you want. You probably wouldn't draw a gear tooth with a spline because it's hard to dimension. So here we're just going to mirror. So we're going to pick our spline, and then we picked our center line to mirror it about, and then there you go. Now we need to extrude it. First we're going to dimension it. Again, we're just pulling it out of our wazoo. So we'll add a dimension. Now it looks all goofy. So we're going to have to zoom back into it and pull those little tabs around again until it looks proper. At least proper to what we're, you know, to our eye. You wouldn't want to run nothing with this. Probably eat the teeth, slap off of it. The pressure angle's something else, right? But for teaching purposes and practice purposes for myself, Yeah, who really gives a shit? As long as you know how to go about it the correct way, it doesn't really matter if you're just practicing. Just practice. Same with running a program. If you only got a part or two to make and it doesn't run optimal, man, let it run. And as long as you know what you could have done better, don't mean you necessarily have to take the time to go in and change it all if you've only got one or two parts to run. Design is a different ballgame though. If you're sending it out to a shop, you need to make it right. Design it for yourself, and no one else will ever see it. You can fudge whatever you need to fudge as long as you know what's happening. Not the best practice, but you can do what you do. Now, of course, I'm going to try and revolve this, but since I forgot to close that top in on it, because again, we need to close our sketches in. Since I forgot to close that top in, it ain't letting me do anything. It's trying to do all kinds of retarded crap. Won't even let me pick a circle. Won't let me pick anything. And it'll dawn on me here in just a second that what I did wrong. So I go in, just draw that little center line or top line across it, vertex to vertex, exit the sketch. All of a sudden, wow, look, it's gonna freaking work. Ain't that something? And now look at there, we got what we're gonna call a damn gear tooth. So now we're going to do a revolve pattern, I guess is what it's called. We're going to pick the sketch that we want to revolve, or the feature rather, since we're revolving a feature. Then we'll pick that radius right there, and as you can see, it throws it up, all of them up there. And then we're just going to adjust the number that we want, which theirs had 40, so we're going to put 40 in it if they'll fit. Because again, none of this is scientific. We're just going to get lucky if we get lucky. And we got lucky. Here goes the check mark. And look at that. Hot damn. Looks like a spur gear thingamajig, right? Now we're going to put that chamfer that they had on the bottom, even though we didn't even put one on the actual part and they didn't need it. We're going to put it there anyway. So you can, right now we're on partial preview, so I'm going to click full preview, and that'll show everything that we've clicked. That way we can see exactly, you know, what's been picked and what hasn't been picked. And this is basically just going to put the chamfer, whatever chamfer we put in. Right now it's on 100,000. It's a bit much. Trying to get that little edge right here. Okay, then pick that bottom edge. You can see that's a little bit much there. So we can adjust that to 50,000. So just type in the number, or you got the arrows there to go up and down. There we go. Hit that check mark, and I believe we have done it. That is